What's up, Romies? It's your boy Rome himself back here again with a brand new series, guys. This one's called Gather All Expectations. In this series, we'll take a look at all upcoming King of Fighters 15 DLC, checking out the characters, doing a brief overview of how their playstyles are, and then give our thoughts and opinions on what we think they will have going into King of Fighters 15. As you can see, we'll be covering Team Southtown first, and none other than do one of my favorite characters from the series, the man with the pole himself, Billy Kane. Billy Kane, or Kane, however you want to say it, is a mid to long range poke specialist whose style of play is designed to annoy, frustrate, and keep your opponents at bay, using his big, fat, juicy, veiny, pulsating cane. Anyways, let's briefly go over his key moves and normals. Starting off with his stand A. This is the far A. Got good range on it. Keeps them at bay. Close A, which is plus on block. Two very good normals. Next up is stand B. Close B is cancelable. Special cancelable, if you will. Far B isn't cancelable, but is a standing low. So it's a very good normal just to catch your opponent trying to, walk in on his range. Crouch D, which is his sweep, is a 2-hitting button. And the first hit of that can actually be special canceled or even canceled into his command normals. Speaking of command normals, he has 3, but right now we're just going to go over the 2 on the ground. You have forward A, which is a double hitting attack here. Can be canceled from stand light kick as well. So you can do this. Keeps your opponent standing and it keeps them locked in for whatever else you have. And his next command normal is his forward B. It's this pole vaulting attack right here. It is very good as it goes over fireballs and it can beat certain low. It also adds a juggle point as well. Now I've saved all of his best normals, his C normals and or heavy attack normals for last because each and every one of them are the key components to Billy Kane's play. Like these are the buttons you want when you're playing this character, and these are the buttons you have to learn how to use at the right times to maximize his strengths. First up, we have his standing C. So far C, this right here, that's the button you want to use to keep them at bay. It did take a bit of a hit in this game as the patches went on, but it's still a very strong long range button. The only thing is you have to be very careful because it's actually like minus 13, so you can't throw it out all willy-nilly. But as you can see, it's got so much range, it keeps them at bay, it pushes them back pretty far, and you can maximal cancel, for KOFXV and 14 as well. Next up, we have his close C or close heavy punch. Now, what makes this button unique is that it's actually +5 on hit, meaning you can link into your crouching light punch into whatever you want. Pretty cool, huh? Jumping C or short hop C is also another one of Billy Kane's strong C buttons as it covers so much spacing. As you can see right here, that whole pole right there, that whole wall, if you will, right in front of Robert's face, it covers all of that there. It stops your opponents from advancing, from trying to hop in. It is just an overall long range poke, and it is good too for jumping in from afar. And at some points, if you're really low to the ground, you can jump C and land into far C, and it'll combo depending on where you are on the screen. So this is definitely probably his best air normal to say. Up, you have his third command normal, the one I didn't mention earlier, which is his jump 2C or jump down heavy attack, and that's this right here. Now this move is pretty cool as you can use it as a command cross up. You can also stay in front and it hits pretty deep. Again. And lastly, we have his 2C and or crouching heavy punch, which is probably one of the best vertical anti-airs in the game. It's this right here, and man, it's so fast. It's as fast as normal by far. It covers a lot of range, as you can see on the vertical end there. Like neutral jumping in front of it blows it up, even from an angle, and it's just so fast, right? Even on the ground, it has a pretty strong, solid, deceptive hitbox. So it's a good poke. Also, one of the best things about it is it forces stand on hit, meaning that if you start at maximal combos from lows and your opponent is crouching, if you go into this, it'll restand them, enabling you to get your forward B command normal and then go into whatever else you want. Now let's cover Billy Kane's special moves, and first up we'll talk about his most useless one to me, which is the Simpuko, and it is basically the windmill mash attack. Let me see if I can get it here. So yeah, it's a mash attack that it doesn't do much damage, and it's a little rough, man. It doesn't have much use out of a few juggles. You can, after other special moves, which I'll get into later, you can juggle out of it, but really it's not really useful. The EX version is probably where you get the most use, and the reason why it's useful is because the EX version has a vacuum effect, and it sucks the opponent in, allowing you to get an easier combo. Up next, we have the Sensetsu Kan Chudan, which is a long-range poke. The A version is fast, while the C version has a follow-up that knocks the opponent further away. Do be mindful of the usage of that move because both versions have incredible amounts of recovery. And to be honest, the only time I really use them is if I use the A version, it is in a maximal combo. And the C version I only really use maybe to close out a round from chip damage because that one can get you killed for sure. The EX version is the best version as it does more damage, more hits, and actually brings your opponent in to continue a combo. Next up, we have the Kyushu Hishu Kan, which is the pole vaulting uppercut move that Billy Kane has. The B version is fast enough where you can actually combo it off light attacks. The D version has more startup, but it does add a bit more juggle properties at the end. The EX version, however, functions like an actual DP with iframes, but due to King of Fighters 14's EX moves being locked behind max mode, it wasn't something you saw as often. But I will tell you this, in KOFXV, Billy players like myself are going to rejoice that we now have access to using the EX uppercut freely. And the last special move Billy Kane has is the Suzumi Otoshi, which is an anti-air tool that is angled diagonally. It's very good at sniping early hops and even full jumps. The A version is fast, while the C version is pretty slow and should only be used in certain corner combos. Now on to Billy Kane's Desperation moves and his climax. And while Billy has 3 of them, honestly you only really use one, and that's the Gurin Sakan, specifically the SDM version. Not only is Gurin Sakan the best SDM he has just for damage purposes, but it's also really good because it advances him forward, it has iframes to go through fireball strings and unsafe pressure, but it also allows you to get a safe jump set up right after it's done. Chu Kane Simpu is a super version of the windmill mash attack from earlier, and just like that attack, it's pretty much useless. It has no range on it, and the damage is actually significantly less than the other super. Saikon Dai, aka the Climax, looks cool, but functionally it's pretty bad, as you can see. While it has a ton of iframes, it also has just as much startup, making it really easy to block. Also, due to the climax not being locked into a cutscene and it's more of a free-form attack, it's possible for the opponent to fall out of the top of it, right? Like they don't get all the hits of the juggle, meaning you won't get all of the hits of the climax, which again makes means you're spinning 3 bars and not getting the damage for it. So again, just go right back to the other super that I showed you earlier, Gurren Sakan, use that one. That's where most of your damage is going to come from. It's going to be less expensive as well, right? Only 2 bars, and it's just the most optimal for Billy Kane at this time. It doesn't mean that Sakan Die doesn't have its usages. Because of the fact that it does hit really high, you're able to combo after it. The only problem with that is ideally you want to play Billy Kane on point or mid, not necessarily anchor, but to do these combos you have to have them anchor because they use up so much meter. Using this basic overview of how Billy Kane functions in the King of Fighters 14, let's gather our expectations and see what the future might have in store for this character. Let's go over some stuff that I would personally want to see added to the character in the King of Fighters 15. So yeah, right off the bat, guys, first off, I would love to see new special moves for Billy Kane. He's got some cool moves in KOF 14, don't get me wrong, but after playing Billy Kane in various other fighting games, whether it's the King of Fighters 98, whether it's the Real Bout series, he's got a little more tools in his arsenal. I know in some older games he has like an actual DP where he goes upwards and spins the Kane. It's pretty much the ender of the Sakan super, right? Like he just does that part. He also has a counter too in some other games. Wouldn't mind if they added that one here, but what I personally want as a special move for him, I just want another combo tool. In this game, you have to be very close for the up kicks to connect, as well as, there's a lot of startup on the straight pole attack. So I would just like some type of basic knockdown attack for Billy Kane. Maybe something you could do off the light normals, just to keep it going, push your opponent further back. I think that would be a nice addition to him. I'd also like to see an increase in damage and range on a Chu Kane Senpu. That's the windmill super again. Find a way to make it useful. In KOF 14, like I mentioned, it didn't do as much damage as his other super, and it didn't have the range. They would fall out of it. So honestly, I think, it would be pretty dope if SNK found a way to, make it more useful. Maybe give it the vacuum effect, where if you do it, and it does kind of like how Joe's super is now, where Joe can hit you as high as possible, but if he combos into his Rombo super, it will bring you back down to the ground and you get hit. Maybe they can do something with that super where if Billy Kane juggles into it, it can suck you in so you get the full hits of the flame. If not, give it a lot more damage. Just make it usable, even if it's a corner only super, I don't mind it, but just make it so I can use that super and the other super in conjunction with the rest of Billy Kane's other tools. Next up, this one is something I don't know if they'll do. It's just me being a little greedy as far as changes for my character. And that's, I want Far B to be special cancelable, or at least cancelable into command normal. I know I might be asking a lot, right? But I think it will be pretty cool. The normal is, at this point, it's just a standing low from afar, right? So why not make it, where Billy Kane can do like 3, 2 to 3 crouch normals into Far B into like forward A, It might push him out really far. Maybe only he gets 1 hit of forward A. I'm cool with that, right? But I just think it would be cool to have a special cancelable Far, standing low attack. That's just me. I understand if people don't want to see that, but I mean, listen, I want my character to be good. I want to see a tough top tier Billy Kane, so it is what it is. And lastly, this one I think honestly overall will really help the character, and that's a brand new climax. As cool as his climax is in KOF 14, like I've mentioned, the usage for it is very sparing. It's something you very rarely see, if all, during Billy Kane matches. As cool as it looks, yet again, maybe they can find something that looks just as cool, that's more functional. I was thinking something like his climax from, his max 2 from KOF 2002 UN, where it's a counter. He throws up the stick, and if you hit him, it's a counter. He goes into a whole full combo there. I think something like that would be pretty cool and pretty unique. for the character. Give him that. Also make it where you've max cancel into it and he can do the animation from that. Just give him something that's useful. Again, I would like to use all of his tools, but you know, we just got to make them more appealing. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that brief overview of how Billy Kane functions in KOF14 and what's to look out for in the future. Hopefully I get all of my wishes, but if not, you know, it is what it is. I just want a competent Billy Kane going into King of Fighters 15. I'm really excited, y'all. Southtown's coming out next month. As always, you know, with this series here, gather your expectations. We will be covering the next 2 characters. Next up should be Yamazaki, and then we'll go into Geese after that. That's the character I'm least familiar with, but we will go in that order. And I hope you guys enjoy this series. If you want to see more, please don't forget to like, you know, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. I'm trying to be more active as possible on here. But just let me know if you guys like this, if you enjoy this, if you want to see more content like this in general, just let me know, guys. As again, I am Rome himself. My socials will be in the link below, my Twitch, my Twitter, all that. So y'all take care, have a fantastic one, and I'll see y'all May 19th.